What is the significance of the Canaanite woman coming from the coasts of Tyre and Sidon? So get Matthew 15:21. Matthew chapter 15, verse 21. Then Jesus went thence and departed in the coasts of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou Son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. And so the questioner is asking, what's the significance of the fact that this Canaanite woman is from the coast of Tyre and Sidon? And what I'm going to suggest to you is that the significance is not that the woman is from the coasts of Tyre and Sidon, but the significance is that the Lord was present there at that time. Now, why do I say that? Get Matthew 11, verse 21. Matthew 11, verse 21. Have you ever heard people say, well, everyone in hell receives the same punishment because everyone there is a sinner, and so they all receive the same punishment because they're all sinners? Matthew 11, verse 21. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. So if you have to face judgment, are there judgments that are worse than others? And the answer is clearly there are. So what will happen is Tyre and Sidon will face judgment for their unbelief. But it will be less punishment than what Chorazin and Bethsaida receive. And the reason why is there were mightier works that were done in Chorazin and Bethsaida. Look with me at Luke 12, verse 48. Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. Are there degrees of responsibility and accountability in judgment? And the answer is plainly yes, because people are giving different amounts of opportunity. And the more opportunity and capabilities that one is given, the more one is accountable for. One thing to consider is the following. There are times in history where printed books are extremely expensive. And so it would be hard to obtain a printed Bible. Today, the Bible is free, right? You can go on the internet and access the Word of God freely. You can download multiple free Bible apps to your phone. So the Word of God has never been more accessible and freely available to people than it is today. If you simply get in your car and drive and you just hit seek again and again and again because you're bored and you can't find anything worth listening to, you will likely come across a Christian radio station, right? And so what happens, this is just reality, I think. If you live in the West today, you have access to more freely available information about the Word of God than many people have had in times past. And so to reject that, to whom much is given, much is what? Required. That's a principle of judgment, and people need to be aware of that. Now, go back with me to Matthew 15:28. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 28. Now, we know that Tyre and Sidon will be destroyed because Matthew 11:22 said that. What I want you to notice is this in Matthew 28. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, Great is thy faith, be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. So the woman there is living in the coasts of Tyre and Sidon. Those are places that are going to be destroyed for their unbelief. But was she a woman of faith in the midst of that? And the answer is yes. So even in places where the society rejects the gospel, do individual people have the ability to believe the truth? And the answer is yes. And they are accountable for believing the truth. Get with me Psalm chapter 83. Psalm chapter 83. So just so you know how the story ends with Tyre, let's look at Psalm 83, and it's going to tell us what happens. Psalm chapter 83, and we'll start in verse 3. Psalm 83, 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the nation of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And do people say things like this today? From the river to the sea. And when people say that, what do they mean? They mean that what we want to do is we want to eradicate Israel all the way from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea and just utterly destroy it so that it would cease to be a nation. If every army on earth, if every nuclear weapon on earth, if every biological agent on earth were deployed to try to destroy the remnant of Israel that God desires to preserve, it absolutely could not do it. It wouldn't happen. It cannot be done. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Now notice the list here. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. So what this 10-nation confederacy does that surrounds Israel is they all agree. We're surrounding them. We don't want them to exist. We're going to go destroy them. And that's the 10-nation confederacy out of which the beast comes. Well, let's see what happens. Verse 9. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. Now notice this. They became as dung for the earth. So what happens to the 10-nation confederacy that wants to destroy Israel? At one point, a vernacular version will really come up with a great rendering of verse 10. Look at verse 13. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish. So what is the future of Tyre? The future of Tyre is it will be destroyed in judgment. But were there people in Tyre that were individual believers? And the answer is, yes, there were.